Right, welcome to Fintech Insider interviews coming from Money2020 2019. This is going to get strange in about a year's time in Amsterdam. I'm Leda, and it's my pleasure to be joined by Dan Phelps, Chief Architect at Travelex.
Thank you very much for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you? How are you finding Money2020?
Yeah, pretty good. Some old faces I've met up with, which is nice, and nerding out with all the tech startups around the other side of the building. So that was it's been good fun. Yeah.
So you've accomplished an incredible amount in your 3 years at Travelex. We've been looking through your resume with great interest. Can you tell us about some of the highlights?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we rather than I, to be honest, because it's always the team that have done the great work. I think for me, it's really the outcomes of the things that we've done. So I spoke earlier on the stage about, how to do digital transformation, the technology that applies to that, the culture, the processes, etc. But I think for me, the highlights are really what we've achieved. So going from an MVP product to building a new business model on that in 100 days was a great thing. Doing something on cloud, which traditionally would have taken us 6 months, doing that within 3 weeks. And I think really that's part of my role and part of the role of architecture is to speed up the performance of the business when we're investing in change or when we have opportunities.
So how did you go about doing that? What you just described is the dream of most innovation officers and most transformation programs in big companies. An amazing accomplishment. How did you go about putting that in motion?
Well, I think we started small, which was the important thing. So we tried to solve one problem, which was a direct-to-consumer payments product. And had 2 small teams which we evolved and matured and developed really, and using public cloud, using microservices, using all this new tech to get it done. Those guys have evolved and matured and scaled as we've built out more things on the platform and really gone from zero to where we are today.
Was there capability, cultural piece? Was something missing that you had to put in place, or was it just a case of coalescing the good forces and pointing them in the right direction? I'm asking very much from the point of view of the process we're seeing a lot of the organizations around us, particularly the incumbents, go through that. It's not just about doing new stuff, it's also about stopping old stuff and changing habits and behaviors and mindsets.
Yeah, I mean, I think we really started from the top, which was changing our investment culture. That was one of the things. But really, if you look at Travelex as a business over the last 40 years, we've been pretty innovative as a company. I think the problem that we had was the underlying architecture and the underlying tech didn't enable us to be moving at the pace that we wanted to move. So, yes, there were cultural challenges, and I think really for me it was about targeting where in the business, so where in your value map of your business do you apply kind of fintech thinking. So we didn't want to do like a wholesale change to the whole of Travelex and disrupt what was going on. We purposely picked out a new product that we were building and kind of proved to the rest of the business that we could do it using all of these new techniques and working like a fintech. And really then that kind of ignited the business, and we had an innovation program which has been fantastic. We've built a real kind of modern engineering culture with a great group of people to get this done really. So I think for me it wasn't about Travelex as a business not being innovative. I think it's more about the pace that we could actually innovate on.
Interesting. And the industry you're in is changing and has changed, but will change continuously. You have some of the more successful challengers playing in your space. How are you seeing people's attitude to travel money changing, and where are you seeing yourselves playing in the future?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at us as a business, I was talking about payments on the stage today. So we are, diversifying our product set. We are conscious of the declining cash, but it's not declining in all markets. And even my example today of being in Amsterdam, I walked over to the road to buy some things from the shop over there, and I couldn't use my Visa and MasterCard. And I couldn't use it. No, they said no Visa, no MasterCard, which I need to go speak to the MasterCard stand about.
So what did you use?
My cash, which I got out from a Travelex store in the Amsterdam airport. But I mean, if you look
had
at
cash on you, I'm I'm staggered.
I know, I know. But I think really what we see consumers moving towards is around having a mix. So having that capability of prepaid card, of using their own cards, or using cash. And we know that that is going to evolve over time, and I think we are certainly keeping pace with that. But for us, it's about creating a customer account, understanding more about the customer behavior and really what they want. So
how much of your customer base is, for want of a better term, customers you can actually get to know, not your passing airport trade, but customers that interact with you digitally or repeatedly, and you can actually get a sense of their footprint other than amount, location?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I think that concept of the customer account and customer engagement really came in with the payments business that we created. So if you look at Travelex before, it's if you're lucky enough to go on holiday once or twice a year, you'll be in the airport, or you'll get some cash delivered to your home, which is a service that we have. And really, you're really engaging with Travelex kind of twice a year. And I think we looked at how can we create a diverse product set where we can, have a multi-channel, multi-product with a view of the customer across all of those different products and services, really. And I think for us, that has helped us understand our customer more, and then start to help shape the propositions that we take to market.
I think you're touching, as I said before, in the million-dollar questions that most banks and institutions on this journey are looking at. And over the last 2 days, the biggest topic we've been coming back to and again has been talent. Getting the right people and retaining the right people, which is becoming an ever-intense battlefield. How are you approaching the question?
I think for us, it's one is we're solving great technical problems, and we're using the latest tech. So if you're an engineer, you want to work in a place which isn't working on old systems, isn't working on old technology. I think that's the very inside view for us as far as our engineering guys. I think the external view of that is, we talk about our Travelex tech as a brand now. We talk about this externally. We engage with the wider communities in London and the areas where we have teams, to really, drum up a buzz and have that technical arm of the business and under Finabler Tech, having a relationship with the technical and product communities within London and elsewhere we operate.
And creating that buzz. So are you, given the space you operate in, both geographically and in terms of your offering, are you looking at offering a borderless account at some point? Is that something we might see coming out of Travelex?
Well, there's lots of things in the pipeline at the moment. So really it was about, we've created this Finabler Tech platform, which is really the backbone for us to be able to create new businesses on. So that is certainly something that we have done proof of concepts on, among a lot of other innovative things that we're looking at now, and hopefully we'll be able to announce them at the next Money2020.
Well, we'll be right here waiting to hear the update. Remember, you promised me an exclusive, right?
Okay, we'll tell you first. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, while we wait for that, can you tell us about Travelex Wire?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our direct-to-consumer payments product within the UK. And I think for us, this was really a test bed for everything that we'd put in place as far as the digital transformation. I think for us as a business, it's very important, but really we're looking at the value chain of payments and where we play. And I think for us to be able to get huge scale, it's a combination of engaging with the customer in a different way, but then also, having solutions all the way down that value chain that we can offer. So whether that's through our API Developer Center, where businesses and partners and customers can come on and integrate into payments at an API level, whether that's the white label services that we offer to institutions and corporates around the world. So yeah, very exciting.
That sounds very exciting. So, with 800,000 online and mobile transactions in 2017, what's the goal for this year? Are you seeing more and more of your customers move online?
Yeah, very much so. We were, as part of Travelex's innovation history, we were very early on to build a web presence and then to move that to home delivery. I think really it's an interesting question for me, that one, because I think we as a business now, we aren't so much focused on those particular numbers, so it's not how many transactions are we doing, which is obviously still something that we're keen on, but really it's about how are we engaging with our customers, what do our customers think of the service that they're getting, and how can we improve that really. But there's certainly markets where we don't have an e-commerce presence today that we'll be moving into over the next year or two.
So will we be seeing you move into new markets, maybe new currencies? You're at 41 now?
41, yes. I think it's really if there is a case for it. So as we move into new markets and we understand the customers, and certainly when we open up new channels like e-commerce into the territories where we don't have that today, it's really about understanding what the customer need is. So if there is a need to add a new currency, we definitely will.
I'm going to ask the hard question now. Gaze into your crystal ball. We've looked at a lot of change over the last few years, accelerating rather than slowing down. And I see it in our business, I see it in the clients we work with. The difficulty in projecting 10 years into the future is ever increasing, but actually the need to think about your business in that time horizon is also ever increasing so that you can invest in the right places. To the extent that you can share with us, where are you seeing both the travel money world and Travelex in 10 years, in broad strokes, of course?
I think the exciting thing for me at Travelex at the moment is being part of the Fintech group. So, and which we've recently gone public. So under Fintech Tech, we have this global platform, and I think for me, it's going back to my earlier point about how we can build businesses on top of that, which are adjacent and can really talk to a customer about what their financial needs are. So we have global reach, we have licenses in 44 countries, we have agencies in 170, bank accounts all over the world, and 40 years worth of compliance and risk expertise. So it's
no bad place to be.
Yeah, and I think for me it's that difference between kind of fintech and finserv. We've built this kind of product and innovative group on top of that stable foundation of finserv, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. And I think some of the products that we'll be launching towards the end of the year will help with that excitement.
You're not going to give us a bit of a glimpse?
I can't really. Maybe afterwards at the after party.
When are we editing this, guys? Can I still sneak it in? No, we wish you luck with that, of course, but it's been an interesting transition. I'm sure it's been interesting for you. It's been interesting for us to watch you go essentially from a bureau to a fintech player. Do you see that transformation continuing, or do you see yourselves as having found the sweet spot?
Well, I think with all kind of digital transformation, you have to keep evolving. Technology changes all the time, and I think it's important, certainly for my role in the business, to enable new technology to be brought in as quickly as possible and deliver value across the various different products and channels that we have.
So before we wrap, let's talk about you. Tell us about your background, the learnings you've had in your career that brought you here.
Yeah, so I started in the ATM network in the UK actually, and then moved into the faster payments team. So creating faster payments as part of VocaLink for UK, and then moving on to sell that internationally. So yeah, my background was very highly scalable, very secure transactional systems. And I think for me, moving to Travelex is giving me that exposure to the end consumer. So that was really something that I wanted to do in my career, and why I moved there, plus the real kind of greenfield opportunity that we had around building a new business. So for me, really, building and scaling new businesses is something that I'm going to be doing under the Fintech Tech Group and in Travelex over the next couple of years.
Interesting. You know it's coming. I was treated to a bit of a tidbit I didn't have when we started preparing for this interview. Just before we started, somebody here volunteered the information that last time you were in Amsterdam, you were on stage.
Yes, somewhat.
Obviously less relevant, but equally interesting.
Yes, yeah, I maybe shouldn't have said that one, but last time I was in Amsterdam, I was on a stage quite drunk and crowd surfed and didn't do it successfully and broke my hand, unfortunately. So
these are the stories, though. These are absolutely the stories. Probably quite an apt transition to our next question, which is What do you know today that you wish you knew 5 or 10 years ago? And it might be how to land when crowd surfing, or you can bring it back to technology. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think I'll actually probably bring it back to the people side of things. So I've always loved technology and being an engineer, absolutely love technology strategy and how it can transform a business. But one of the things that I did early on was not really bring people along with the journey. So I think that's something that I've learned as I've got older, is to engaging and evangelizing with the people in the business. And connecting with them on an emotional level rather than a facts and data level is something that I'd wish 20-year-old me had realized early on.
Very good point. So what's the best careers advice you have ever received or could give?
I think it's really part of the Travelex DNA, really, which I love, which is the act local, think global. And that's we have that through the way that we create products. We have that in the way we think about innovation. And for a global business, I think that's really important, because sometimes you can be very focused on your particular region and not think about the wider context and the wider business at whole. And I think really when you look at the changes that we've put in place at Travelex, they've been very much under that mantra.
That's excellent. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find out more about you and what's happening next with Travelex, other than Fintech Insider, of course, when you're ready to announce?
Well, at the after party tonight is one of them, and at the next Money2020.
Find this man, buy him a drink.
But yeah, definitely find me on LinkedIn. I do like to talk about these things a lot.
Fantastic, and we like to hear about them. People can find me on Leda on Twitter. If you have any questions or feedback, please share it with us. We always like to hear from our listeners. Thank you for listening. And please share the podcast along. If you know someone who loves fintech and isn't listening to Fintech Insider, who would that be? Tell them about the show and send us your feedback on Twitter, or email us on podcasts@11fs.com. That's all for now from Amsterdam. Thank you very much and goodbye.